I know why you just clicked on Snowman.
Because she just wanted to relive the magic.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Warfare, the new A24 film about warfare.
Wow.
It was written and directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. Ray Mendoza is one of the soldiers that the story is about. He helped write and direct it to make it as accurate to the true story as possible.
Okay.
And that's, I think, really cool. They even showed a little bit of footage of him running around directing stuff and being like, this is how he came around this corner. I'm like, that's really cool to me.
That makes a lot more sense now. I did not realize that's who
who that was. You're like, that's not Alex Garland.
I could trip over Alex Garland, but I recognize the name.
Alex Garland, we just saw Civil War last year. I guess he's on a war kick. But yeah, so it's got a really good cast. I mean, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Joseph Quinn, DeFaro Wunei, something like that. A bunch of young, upcoming, if you will, actors. Some of them I won't even classify as up and coming anymore, but they're all younger and very talented. It's a great cast, and obviously a very well-known director, at least co-directing it. So, yeah, it's tough. Reviewing war movies, especially true stories, because it's like, what can you say? it's so devastating, and man, this was an experience of a movie. Very quiet theater. A lot of pins could have been dropped and we would have heard them.
Oh yeah, absolutely no talking at all.
No,
even between us. And we talk a little quietly. Not enough to disturb people.
Depending on the movie.
Not enough to disturb people. You know, we speak amongst ourselves.
Behind us, but yes,
well, that's their fault.
We buy the tickets first, damn it.
We're up front. What are they doing there?
I really don't know how you feel about it because we didn't talk at all really during the movie, other than a couple of ooches and oofs and stuff like that. And we both kind of had a reaction to a certain moment. We'll get into in the spoiler section, but. Other than that, how did you feel about this movie?
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I did too.
It had me on the edge of my seat the entire film. And I'm a big fan of war films. Both my parents were in the military. My mom always showed me war films, especially if anything was Navy related.
That could be you. That's what she said to you during the movies?
No, she very much told me, Justin, if you want to join the military, come talk to me. I will get you into the right officer track. She's like, I have the connections. It's like, I will get you right to where you need to be, away from the front lines. But I've always seen most every one of these films that comes in the theaters up until the last few years, I would say, but this was probably the most gripping I can remember since, Black Hawk Down.
That was my thought, too. So I will say this movie is two movies, because the first half is one thing and the second half is slightly, it shifts a little bit. And I like the first half more than the second half, for sure. But overall, I did love the movie. And for the first half, I was going, this isn't the best war movie I've ever seen. There's some greats, but I was thinking, is this the best, Iraq or one of the modern Middle East war movies I've ever seen?
Yeah.
I was like, this is so good, and I was comparing it in my head to Black Hawk Down, which I do consider to be the best, but recent ones that came to mind, American Sniper, Jarhead, whatever, this was better than all of those in my mind. It was not in the front of my seat because I was very firmly in the back of my seat, wishing I wasn't seeing some things I was seeing. I also have not served in the military, but have tons of family members who did. Obviously, both my grandparents. I think everybody can relate to their grandparents serving, but two of my brothers, both were in the Air Force. One still is. And honestly, one of the actors in this movie looked too much like my brother, and that made me so uncomfortable watching this movie. This movie was great. It really was. And like I said, having the actual soldiers involved, not all of them, but there was 3 guys, I believe, involved, especially the one guy who helped write and direct it, being involved, I think adds such a great touch to it, where it's if something weird happens, you go, well, it's because he remembered it happening and put it in. So you can't be like, that's weird writing. You go, sometimes weird shit happens. And so I'm like, that's where I'm like, it's hard for me to rate this movie because I'm like, I don't know how I feel other than wow about it after the fact.
Honestly, knowing that more of the actual soldiers were involved, especially that one was writing and directing it too, as well, has probably inflated my score a little bit.
Yeah, erased any of the weirdness, because there's a couple of weird moments, but he was like, I remember that being really weird, so I included it because it weirded me out.
Hey, I got no reason to doubt anything they're saying there.
Yeah, unless he wrote that in, that was Alex Garland, like, I've got a great idea for this scene. And he's like, why? He's like, just let me do it. I know the emotions are high right now, and you never want to overreact, but I'm in the 8 to 7.5 range with this, I feel like.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you with 8.
It's one of the best movies of the year, definitely. Absolutely.
I'm trying to remember what I said the last time was my favorite movie of the year, but this might take it.
Oh, I think Mickey 17 was your favorite movie so far. Yeah. I like this more than Mickey 17.
No, I like this more than Mickey 17
far,
too.
Frankly.
Yeah, no, new best movie of the year for me.
I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year yet. I'm not ready to say that, but it's up there. This was very good.
I love. See, I've never. I always have my complaints with the horror genre. You know, my time of being afraid of it, and then my time of just being really indifferent towards it. But I've always loved a good thriller. I have not been so gripped by a movie in a while. That was just pure, full focus.
Yeah.
Just high energy, full focus. I could feel it, man. It was.
Yeah. And like I threw out Jarhead and American Sniper. It blows those out of the water. It's so much better than those. I don't know how you feel about those movies, but I thought this was so much better than those.
I cannot remember if I saw Jarhead, but I do agree it's better than American Sniper. Yeah. Although I only saw that once.
American Sniper is better than Jarhead, so this movie, it also does a great job of making the characters feel real. Once again, I feel like that has to do with, one, they're real people going in, but two, having real people talking about themselves or the other real people. But like from the first scene on, I was locked in. I'm like, I care about these guys, and like they feel like real. And then, like I said, the one guy shows up and it's like, that's my brother, and you're like, God damn it, wrecked me. But yeah, I don't know how much more we can say without getting into spoilers, so we're gonna get into spoilers pretty quick here. But yeah, like we said, around an 8. It's really good. Really, really good. Hard to watch at times, as all war movies are.
Very.
Does surprisingly a lot with the budget. This is a $20 million movie, and there's maybe 1 or 2 moments you see the budget, like, oh, we're gonna watch from the sky rather than actually showing this happen kind of stuff. But like, it looked like a $50 to $60 or $1 million movie to me. I was like, I knew it was going to be low budget because it was A24.
Right.
But I also knew Civil War was their new highest budget movie last year, and that was, I forget how much, like 60 or something. So I was like, maybe this is in the same ballpark, and I believed that it was. And then we looked it up, and it was 20, and it was like, yeah, that does make sense, but they made that 20 look really good.
See, I don't know how much military equipment costs for movies or what's going to be CG, but goddamn, did it look good.
Yeah. It also helps the casting because they're good and famous actors, but there's no, like, Jesse Plemons or Kirsten Dunst or whatever.
That did help. Like, I recognized Will Poulter. I questioned it for a quick second because, like, how short his haircut was and stuff. But, like, I recognized that was him. And then no one else did I recognize by face, realistically. I recognized their names afterwards.
Yeah, like, I just recognized the one other guy that I mentioned. I forget his name. The Joseph Quinn guy. I recognized him by his face. Okay. I knew from the trailer going in. I was like, okay, those are the 2 guys I know about. And then this guy, Cosmo Jarvis, was in the Alto Knights. He was the guy we were talking about, had the thick-ass neck. He was playing He was also in the Shogun show.
Oh, but, wait a second.
Yeah.
The Hajime.
Yeah, we talked about this like 2 weeks ago for the Alto Knights. But yeah, so he's really impressed me because I remember talking about the Alto Knights going like, oh, he wasn't bad. It was a tiny little role, but there's something about him I liked. And then in this movie, he's great. I'm like, yep, My instincts were correct. But anyway, let's get into spoilers. Let's get out of the way. But like we said, if you want to be traumatized by another war movie, if that's your thing, go watch it. It's very, very well done. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Spoilers. Yeah. So I think it was weird because in the moment it was like the part that hit me the most, and then I ended up being wrong about it. But I thought that guy, his character was dead when the bomb went off, and so the other guy bringing him in and trying to take care of him even though he was dead was super impactful for me. And then he was like, and he's not dead. But
yeah, no, I when they were dragging him over, I definitely thought he was dead, and they were just recovering the body for extraction. But when they started doing medical on him, I guess I was just like, oh, I guess they have to try something just in case they're wrong or whatever. I don't know. But then, yeah, he came back. And
I thought it was just like a trauma reaction because they're all having various traumatic reactions. Like the one guy just goes full shell shock. The other guy's screaming. Yeah. And it's like, I thought this guy was like, oh, I've got to help him, even though it's like he's clearly dead. And then he wasn't clearly dead, apparently. But I was like, okay.
yeah, I guess they could tell, or we're just trying, and then it worked out. I don't know, but it worked out, and it's real. So yeah, what am I gonna argue?
Something interesting too that I read in the trivia was that guy, the real guy, who they showed in the end in his wheelchair rolling around a little bit.
Right.
His trauma response is he doesn't remember anything from that day at all, and I was like, that's really interesting. And so it's like, that's gotta be really hard to communicate how he was feeling and portray that if like he can't give you any input at all.
So he was the worse off guy, the guy we thought was dead, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, at the end, for a second there, I thought, because one of them was standing and one of them was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected both of them to lose something.
I thought both of them were going to lose both their legs.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, they kind of looked like a little different than when, at first at least, but
yeah.
All right, that makes more sense. But
yeah, he doesn't. According to the IMDb trivia, this could be completely wrong. But that's what the trivia told me was. Yeah, he didn't remember anything at all. I'm like, that's insane.
Crazy.
But yeah, no. The part we both kind of cringed at first was when the Navy SEALs that came to give supporting fire to the Marines, but then the Marines have to come and save them. And when the Marines come in, they're all idiots and just kick the guy's broken leg like 3 times in a row.
Like, I understood one of them.
The one time, yeah.
It was like the guy ran up and accidentally went too far, trying to like come in to help.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he screwed up, and then he was good afterwards. The one guy, I wanted someone to deck him.
Yeah.
That was the worst type of person in every situation.
Yeah. But I think, like, once again, like, you have to take a step back and go, this is a true story, and go, like, so this shit happens. And there was several things throughout the movie where people aren't doing the smart thing. Like, the guy injects himself with the adrenaline, the morphine by accident.
I thought he was going to go, I guess he didn't get a good dose to just stab himself with a needle, but I thought he was going to go down, or that was going to be a bigger plot point. But yeah, he somehow...
He had the needle flip.
Yeah, I guess it's not foolproof enough that he was able to flip it and then inject himself in the thumb by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, he stabbed himself through the thumb with the needle.
Yeah.
Which, that was... I know he was nervous, but that was real.
Well, it's trauma, and that's why it's like, you think, oh, what an idiot, and then you're like, yeah, one, trauma, warfare, but also I was thinking, like, I was really noticing, and this gets harped on in certain war movies more so than others, but it's like, these guys are all like kids to an extent, because that's what happens during time of war, is it gets infiltrated by a bunch of 21-year-olds, and then you go, all right, cool, now go. And it's like, oh my God.
Just a couple of them felt older, but then they had the one new recruit. I think the guy who stabbed himself in the thumb wasn't the new recruit.
No, he wasn't, yeah.
But I think that was Michael Gandolfini's character.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then, like, Will Poulter's the guy in charge. And Will Poulter is, like, I don't know late 20s or whatever. And it's like, you think of him as, like, oh, he's young. And then you think about, in warfare, late 20s is you've been around for a little bit.
yeah, especially you joined up at 18. I don't know how long they need to train you, but...
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he's a SEAL. So
I guess
probably,
if you're a SEAL, it's a
yeah,
little
you've
bit
been
of
there a
training.
while.
Yeah, man, this movie's really, really well made. I really enjoyed. Well, I don't know if "enjoy" is the right word. It was something. It was something.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. They mostly lived.
Yeah, I was shocked actually how many people
Oh.
survived.
Crazy, but it was good to see. I thought there would be a lot more explosives used.
Yeah, they
But-
only used the one IED. I was like, why aren't they
It was-
using it again?
There's like a couple of grenades
Yeah.
and one IED.
Dude, when that first grenade came in through the hole, I was so not ready for it because, like, we were both waiting for the guy by the window to get shot because he's the new guy, and it's like, what are
Yeah.
you doing over by the window? You idiot,
Standing
moving the
too
curtains and
much.
stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, moron, he's gonna get shot, and then just the grenade, bloop, and I was like, oh fuck, like I was so not ready for that.
Because, like, they established they're on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
They established that they have the local troops covering the first floor where the family's at, right? So they have this entire location locked down.
Yeah.
And then at the very least, they have claymores on the entire perimeter of the second floor balcony. So, like, we don't get enough view of the structure to see how someone can sneak up, but I was not expecting someone to be able to get that close to just drop a grenade into
Yeah.
the hole.
They did
That was
have-
wild.
They did have a throwaway line, like, these buildings are really tight, they could just walk right over. And I was like, yeah, okay, good point. And then I just didn't think about it anymore.
I just figured because I saw the claymores and I'm like, oh, I guess they probably have some on the roof too or something, wherever they need up on the outside. But I don't know, because I was wondering, like, okay, they took over the building. The sledgehammering was definitely like they go into the building. They think it's a 2-story single family building, but it's actually 2 apartments stacked one on top of the other. So there's a wall that they have to break down. They decide not to go with explosives, to go with a sledgehammer to be quieter.
But it's
which,
not quiet.
Yeah, neither one was quiet. I guess there was no real good options here outside of maybe going around.
The thought that the one guy was like brought up was, he's like, you just blow it up because yeah, it's louder, but it's just one loud bang. When you're just constantly hammering, you may not be as likely to hear it, but once you hear it, you go, all right, where is that? And you find it.
That took so long,
Yeah.
and then we only saw up to the point where they got enough to get the face and a rifle through.
Yeah.
And they had to hammer it through enough to create a pathway for
Yeah.
them.
That probably
And
took
then
like an hour.
hammer the sniper hole, because
Yeah.
that was clearly sledgehammer through.
Yeah.
There was so much loud setup that it was pretty obvious that they were caught. Now, that was very clear that they were people, the locals knew immediately.
Yeah.
They were getting checked out the entire
Yeah.
time, so
Those kind of scenes too, when a sniper is watching people in the crowd, it gets me so hype, I guess is the right word, like so much anxiety, because like
Yeah.
it's not the same thing, but it reminds me in a weird way of like when I was a lifeguard and you're just constantly scanning looking for warning signs. It's like that, except for even more death could happen, because yeah, lifeguarding is life or death, but it's the military, so it's even more. But anyway, whenever I watched that, I was just like, ah, that whole time.
no, the beginning of this movie built so much tension.
Yeah.
Just mostly silent after they got into the building, at least.
Yeah.
Just even going up to it, that was pretty tension building too, because I figured there might be actual soldiers inside and not just 2 families that
Yeah.
they were taking the building over for to provide cover. So they're in the building, it's just silence for a while, and you know that we're here because something goes wrong at
Yeah.
some point.
If not, there would be no movie.
Exactly. And it just builds and builds, and there's people moving, there's people watching, there's multiple viewings of people going by at different points around the building. The sniper's staring through the hole, they have to switch on and off a bit, just until the grenade, and I did not expect the grenade.
Yeah.
And the IED goes off. I should have seen it coming.
I did not.
I knew something was going to go wrong
I
at some
jumped
point.
so high.
Oh my gosh.
I think I landed in the wrong seat, actually. I think I landed in the other row.
Because I don't know why. I was just expecting some RPG at some points, and the only explosives were these grenades
Yeah.
and that IED, and that was so impactful.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I definitely
crazy.
expected that kind of thing to happen, but I guess it was just, it's good filmmaking and the timing and the pacing of it,
Yeah.
that when it happens and how it happens, it's so unexpected. And this movie is fantastically made, and it's not just because it's the people involved. Like, it is just really good directing and cinematography and all that, because so then they go through after the IED, they do the typical thing where the sound is muffled in a certain way, there's ears ringing, there's disoriented view of everything.
Yeah, I get
But
the D-Day scene, of course.
right, but the way they did it and how long they did it, it just kept going.
I was just about to bring that up because I've only ever seen usually, like when that happens in a
Yeah.
series or a movie, there's
like
usually
30
one
seconds.
central character.
Yeah.
It's just their point of view. Of course, it's
Yeah.
happening to more than just them,
Right.
but they're the central person we're focused on. No, we got to see multiple of them experiencing that
Yeah,
at different
differently.
times,
Yeah.
various ways.
And once again, like I said, the different ways like trauma reactions happen.
Oh my
like the
gosh.
guy's just standing there staring at his friend on the ground, and
Yeah.
it's like gunshots are happening. And he's like, "What?" Because it's like,
I was screaming inside,
Yeah.
like, you need to get back inside, man.
Speaking of screaming, we've got this muffled noise, and the guy's screaming in the muffled noise, and then it just cuts to one shot. It has one shot in the middle of all of this dulled noise, where it's like a third-person perspective inside the house once they bring him in, and it's just him screaming for a couple seconds, and then it goes back to the muffled stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. That filmmaking is so good. And it's like, it's almost an art house war movie. It's not entirely. There's a couple of moments that make it feel art house, but those moments are brilliantly done. And that's why it's like, to me, when I bring up movies like American Sniper or whatever, it's like, it's well made and all. That's Clint Eastwood. It's a good movie.
Right.
But this is just so much better. So much better. It's not even comparable, really. And that really is what makes it feel so impactful, is how, like, visceral it feels. And it's like, it's not just because of gore. There is some violence. There are some gory visuals. But that's not the whole reason there's impact. It is how it's told and how it's shown that really hammers it home, right?
It still screams, man.
Yeah.
That man was screaming his lungs off, and every single thing they did to him just triggered insane waves of pain. He
Yeah.
was begging them not to drag him into cover,
Yeah.
not to move him into the Bradley at the end.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
I know it was in the trailer and all, but that conversation too, where the guy's calling in, like, we've got 2 severely injured guys. And he's like, who's the other one? Are you talking about me? Am I severe? And once again, that's been done in other war movies too. I don't want
Yeah.
to like say, oh, they reinvented the wheel, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's just done really well. It really is.
Gosh.
All of it. Like I said, even the stuff you kind of like, that was weird. It's like, because it was a memory that for some reason, like, the things you remember, as anybody, but let alone a soldier, but like the things that you'll pick out and choose to remember in life events are going to be the things that stood out to you and were weird in some way. So it makes sense that he would remember those weird moments of like, why was everybody kicking the dude? Like, why did nobody care? Everybody was just not paying attention, and that pissed me off. So it's really, especially because the guy who helped write and direct it was that guy that was there, the Pharaoh or whatever his name was. That was the guy who was directing it or co-directing it. He would know that this happened because he was kneeling right there trying to take care of the guy as everybody kept walking on him. I thought it was great too that they're like, these are based on the memories of these soldiers, and then the first shot is a shot of an ass, and it's like, yep, I would remember that too.
Great memory.
Great ass. But no, seriously, I thought it was so interesting. Some of the things that like made it feel real or different is like, so they're like, all right, we need more tanks, and then the request for tanks is denied because like, yeah, the last tank we sent, we got blown up. Like, no, we're not sending another tank unless we get approval from this guy. So he goes to his commanding officer, like, they're saying no, and he's like, why? Like, we need approval from this guy. Pretend to be that guy and give approval. All right. And it's like, that's so crazy, but it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised that happened. It's amazing that it worked, but I'm not surprised.
It is. Of course, it's the people making it, so of course I'm assuming that totally worked. I'm not doubting them at all.
Right.
But it is wild that could work.
Yeah.
That you can just call back, impersonate the guy over the radio.
Yeah.
And just get the tanks out there. And it was the right move. They got them out.
Yeah. And then calling the strike on their own building too, I thought was really
Was that in the
cool.
trailer?
I don't remember much of the trailer. All I
Me
remember
neither.
from the trailer was you know, them all being happy at the beginning, and then them getting blown up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm a severely injured one. That's like all I really remember.
Just seeing the two Bradleys just go rotating the turrets, just go every single roof surrounding the building.
Yeah.
Just take including the building, just take every roof out, basically.
Speaking of cool warfare things that like I just didn't know was a thing, and then once you see it, you're like, that makes a lot of sense. Is I just heard a unicorn call.
I don't want to die, man.
But like, because they don't have access to immediate backup, like air cover from the air, like actual planes or helicopters or whatever, because there's a million things happening at once. But what they do have the ability to do is just have a plane, what they call it is a show of power from the sky or something. A show of force. And they just have a plane fly by really low, so it kicks up the dust, it intimidates them, and it gives them like a couple minutes to do something really quick. I'm like, that is such a cool tactic. I did not know was a thing.
That was absolutely insane. Now, I had heard of a show of force. I did not realize it was specifically that.
Yeah.
I was expecting not explosives, because of course they were saying they were right on top of them. They couldn't just blow up the building or the surroundings. I expected turret gunfire. Just come through that street, just light the street up, hit anything you can. If not, it's just a show of force. We're just shooting bullets to show we can.
Yeah.
But wow. Yeah. They did it 3 times, and of course the first time was the best time, but my God, that might have been my favorite moment in the movie. That was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not the meaning of the movie or the point of the movie, but you can't watch a military movie and not go, man, America's so good at this. We're so much better than everybody else.
The precision is insane.
Makes you go, rah, a little bit.
It very much does. I try not to, but it is very much.
I'm not super patriotic or anything. I don't wear American flags, but when you see something like that, you're like,
See,
go team.
I did wear American flags, mostly because my mom bought American flags a lot, but still.
I did too. That's the funny thing. Like, I don't know if you remember, but like middle school era me would wear like the back-to-back World War champs t-shirt and stuff, because I thought we were all like joking around having fun, and then I realized, oh, y'all are serious, and so I stopped wearing the shit because I'm like, I'm not this. Hold on. I thought we were having fun.
See, my shit didn't have slogans. I just had like an American flag, an eagle somewhere, some Navy anchors. You know, I had a couple of Navy shirts, and it is just insane, the movement precision, because like of course the troops,
reel it in.
the SEALs inside the sniping point, the building they're in, they're injured. I did potentially expect more casualties after that, but
once again, America is great at this shit.
But the crazier part to me are the troops coming up from the streets.
None of them got hit.
None of them.
Yeah.
It is just perfect precision, 2x2 movement and cover. It was beautiful.
That was the thing. I read it in the trivia too. Once again, this IMDb trivia, so take it with a grain of salt. This is the first big budget studio film, which I don't know what their definition of big budget is, but okay. This is the first studio film portraying the Battle of Ramadi, which is often debated alongside Fallujah as being the most bloody battle in Iraq. An estimated 4,000 to 5,000 enemy fighters took place, while the SEAL Team 5 element consisted of roughly 40 men. So it was 40 people versus 4,000 to 5,000 people.
That's
insane.
That's interesting, because it was you could definitely hear from the radio, and having the troops having to go from the multiple positions, that they were clearly. It was clearly a multiple point coordinated attack, but the movie did not give me that term of scale. I suspected hundreds, not thousands.
Well, I think this battle includes more than just that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because that was also more than 40.
Yeah.
Or that wasn't 40 SEALs.
Right.
So my point being, though.
Oh yeah.
America's good at this shit.
It was insane.
Which once again is not the point of the movie. Warfare is bad.
Every single cover.
It hurts everybody. Helps nobody. It's like the opposite of Biden's economy.
They had Overwatch supports.
They're playing Overwatch?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
I
thought it was Call of Duty.
My Call of Duty 4 fans out there, come on. That was a fun mission.
God.
The AC mission.
We don't want to trivialize this, the whole point of this movie, if there is a point, because like we've said before, Alex Garland doesn't like to tell you anything. He just wants to show you something and let you think about it. And for the most part, if it's men, then he gets a little bit carried away with his commentary. But for the most part, he likes to just show you shit. And this movie, once again, is all modern war movies for the most part, is war sucks, war is awful, and it does nothing but, you know, bring death, which I thought that family was going to die. The fact that they didn't shocked me. Especially when they came back out, I thought that they were going to get shot.
Yeah, no, I thought they were going to get shot for going outside, but we just ended the movie with the troops coming out, or the enemy troops coming out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I was surprised that they were as fine as they were.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing about the movie that makes at least me feel any sort of way, outside of, you know, of course, the troops being hurt. But, like, these just seemed like two innocent families in a house that was that had a strategic location for them.
Yeah.
And they just went in and took it over.
Yeah, the lady screaming "why" really got me.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, I mean, did the husband speak English? I don't remember anyone
I don't think they
speaking
really
English the
spoke
whole way.
English at all, but it was
But
probably
they
just
had
like,
why.
you probably know like a couple words or
Yeah.
something.
They had the right one.
Yeah.
That was intense. And then I'm sorry, it just,
Yeah.
I guess we were ordered.
Yeah. And another crazy thing that I was thinking about during it is like, so obviously before the attack, you hear nothing but Allah Akbar. You hear that a lot. So it's like, you know, that's something that we've been, you know, trained to associate with terrorists and stuff.
Right.
But it is just like God, like bless God or God bless.
God is the greatest, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then when they get hit by the IED, the one character wakes up and all I can say is, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, that's such a cool comparison. I don't know if they meant it that way, but I was like, we're all people. You know what else was interesting? And that's why I looked up the trivia to begin with, was I was curious how many guys didn't want to be in this movie. Like, there was like, because it was showing the actor versus their counterpart, and it blurred out 90% of their faces. I was
Yeah.
like, that's really interesting to me. I wonder why.
Somebody in the military explained in the comments.
Ray Mendoza, the writer/director, says that this is the most accurate depiction of combat to date. Yeah, well, you made it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's like...
You might be biased, but you're also probably right.
So this is really cool. So like I said, well, it says in the credits for Elliot, and so when I saw that, I assumed he's dead, but then they show he's not
Right.
dead. And so I was curious, but so, like I said, it turns out he didn't have any memory of it. So what this says is, Miller survived, but he did not remember anything about that mission. Mendoza says that over the years, Miller would email his fellow service members with questions about what happened. So Mendoza decided to make Warfare to help fill in the gaps for his memory. So that's cool. He like made it for him. It was like, this is your story.
That's
So
interesting.
now you get to know. That's really cool. Did you notice? I didn't notice until it was in the trivia. This movie didn't have a soundtrack. It only played a song at the very beginning and during the credits.
I
That was a
couldn't
cool
have
choice.
told you that throughout, but I very much noticed that in the beginning, and of course during the actual combat, I didn't, and that was understandable. I don't really know that.
You don't need
war
music
movies.
there, yeah.
I was thinking that beforehand. I don't know
Yeah.
why I was thinking it, but I was just thinking, what kind of soundtrack would be in a war film, and trying to remember the soundtracks of other ones. And outside of organic music in the actual
Yeah.
movie, there's really never any need for that. It drags you away from the immersion that
This is real.
real
Yeah.
story war is going to give you. It's hard not to get immersed into this when you know these are real people going through a real event with real suffering.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to get back inside. We got another movie coming up, but this was really worth a watch. I don't know how many times you'll go back to it or anything. This is one of those movies that maybe you'll only ever watch it once, but it's totally worth watching. And I do recommend, I don't say this very often, I recommend seeing this in theaters, because I think the bigger the screen, the louder the speakers, the better it is for this kind of movie. This was phenomenal.
Yeah,
So,
I wish I could get this in IMAX.
actually, I saw ads for it in IMAX.
Oh gosh.
Maybe
would
go
be
check
cool.
it out. Let me know. I'm probably not going to watch it again, but
Yeah,
At least not that soon.
I'll have to see if my mom wants to see it. I could see me going with her to see that. My friends might want to see it, so
Yeah.
I could probably see it a couple more times.
If it is an IMAX, go check it out.
That would be
regardless.
an
Go
event.
see it. It's worth seeing. Like I said, if that's your kind of thing, like this, war movies aren't for everybody.
No, it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're here, you've definitely seen all the spoilers already. But going in, we didn't know that most everyone was going to survive, and I mean that tension alone is just palpable.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever you do, whether it's podcast or on YouTube. We appreciate the follow, appreciate the likes or reviews, whatever you want to do. It does help. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever. Bye.
Bye.